Welcome back to Physics 2. On today's video, we're gonna carry on with our Physics 2, and our lesson today will be focused on Unit 5, which is kinematic in 2 dimensions. Okay, so we're gonna split it into video. The first video, we're just gonna explain the concept, and then in our second video, we're gonna start with problem solving. Okay. So what are the important parts that we have to keep in mind when we have to solve the kinematic in 2 dimensions? Okay, and the first thing is just an introduction. We just want to talk about our displacement, what is a velocity and an acceleration. Okay, so basically when we talk about the displacement, it's all about if everybody, for instance, if you have a car, that is initially at a distance r0. So this is the initial distance. Can you see? So if this car move to this point A and again move to our point B, okay, so we can see that this move from an initial to a final distance. So there is a displacement of this car. So but in order for us to get the displacement of this car, is going to be from the initial until the final. Okay, so that will be our displacement. Okay, and then more often it's all about the change in the distance. So it's gonna be the final minus the initial always. Or we can apply our cosine rule. We can apply our sine rule or our Pythagoras to get this r, which is the displacement. It's all about a move from a specific point to another point. But how do we apply it in our 2D dimension? So basically, for instance, if we were given a body with y and then we're given x, okay, so the displacement of this body, that is free body that is falling down, okay, the displacement of this free body that is falling down is going to be this tangent. It's going to be r. Okay, so as you can see, you have a 90 degrees here. So you can apply your Pythagoras to get your displacement of this free body that is falling down. So we are in the 2D. Okay, so what about that? It's going to be r squared. It's going to be given by y squared plus x squared, and therefore our r, which is the displacement, is going to be by y squared plus x squared. So this is a displacement in 2D. So we just going to be playing around more often with this formula. Okay, so this is one of the formulas that you can keep in mind. Okay. And again, we can talk about our velocity. Okay? So we still have a car. And initially, we know that our velocity is always given by the distance, which in physics we consider to be r over the distance. Okay? So if this car has an initial distance, the initial position of this car, so if it moves to R position, what's going to happen? We have a change in what? In the distance and as well in change in time. So for it to reach that R position, there will be a specific time that will be required. And therefore, we're going to have the change in displacement and change in time. So it's going to be the final minus the initial, and as well the final time minus the initial time. So this is the displacement. But how do we represent the speeds? When we are dealing with them in the 2D dimension, it's basically a 2D. So for instance, if I have a ball, okay, that I have to throw, okay, and that ball is moving from this direction, okay, so you can see that I can represent them in 2D, which means I'm gonna have a velocity according to x-axis and as well one according to y-axis, okay. So what is the important formula that we can apply here? Remember your SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA, what is it about? SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. This is the most important formula that you need to keep in mind when you are solving this kind of problem, because this angle can be here or this angle can be given up of that vector. So what do? What is our SOHCAHTOA about? So let's say we're given a right angle triangle. Okay? So this, we know, is the opposite to the angle. Opposite side to the angle. This is our angle, opposite to the angle, and we always make sure that we have a 90 degrees there. Okay? This is just a revision. We have our adjacent to the angle, and then we have our hypotenuse. Okay? So if I'm looking for the opposite of this angle, the opposite side to this angle, the opposite side to this angle is going to be what? Sine. Okay? So therefore, our sine of that angle is going to be the opposite over the adjacent. Just a revision. If I'm looking for the adjacent to this angle, the adjacent is going to be what? Adjacent is going to be cosinus. So it's going to be cos angle of A over the hypotenuse. Okay? So this is just a revision. So you need to keep this in mind because it's not about that the velocity initial is always going to be in x or it's going to be in y. Because if they change, they put the angle here, you can see that the velocity of x is going to change. Now it's going to be opposite to the angle. Okay? So let's discuss. Okay? So let's say, for instance, we were given an angle which is down here. Okay? We're given our angle is in here. So we need to represent this velocity according to the x-axis. Okay? What is our right angle triangle? We're going to see that we're going to see this is going to be our right angle triangle. Okay? So this side is the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So you can see that this velocity in x is going to be adjacent. Therefore, it's going to be what? VO cos of that angle. Okay? But remember, this vector of y is going to be here. And then this side is what? It's opposite, which is a sine. And therefore, our V O of y in y is going to be VO sine of theta. This is in the case when they give us the angle here. So what's happened? If they give us the same, guys, now we have a ball which was kicked up, and then our angle is given in this up yards. Can you see that? Okay? They give us this top angle. Okay? So you just want to apply for mathematics. You can get this angle here, but we can use the angle of here just as well to put them in a y and x. Okay? Let's try and see. The velocity in x and the velocity in y. Can you see that? Okay? And then we come again here, we put our right angle triangle here. Okay? And then we have a 90 degrees there. Can you see that? Okay? And therefore, you can see that the y is in the adjacent. Adjacent, opposite to the angle, and as well our hypotenuse. So this is in adjacent is going to be what? VO cos of theta. But the x is on the opposite because this vector will go that side, and therefore it's going to be VO sine of theta. Okay? Or someone can come just here and say 90 degrees minus the given angle so that you can play around with the right angle in this side. So it depends with you. Okay? And then from here, as you can see, remember, every time that we have a value in a velocity in y and as well in velocity in x, we can apply your Pythagoras. That's why if they ask us our final velocity of this ball, okay, it's always going to be Pythagoras. You take the velocity in x squared plus the velocity in y squared. If they ask us the final speed, final velocity of this ball when it was in the air, we're going to apply Pythagoras. Velocity in x and then in y, you can get that. Okay, so it's just a matter of mathematics. Okay, and then therefore we are going to discuss about as well what is our acceleration. Acceleration also is still the same concept. We're just playing with them in y and in x. Okay, so we are here. We know that our acceleration is always given by what? Okay, the velocity over the time. But if it's the moving car, which moving from a specific distance, okay, from R, we have a car that is moving from initial position to a final position. We have a change in time, and then we're going to have a change in velocity. Okay? Therefore, we're going to have change in velocity over the change in time, which is going to give us V initial minus the final speed over time final minus the initial time. So it's just a matter of mathematics, and therefore we're gonna have as well. We're gonna have, as well have what? In acceleration in x and as well in acceleration in y. So that's basically what we're going to be playing. We're going to be playing more often with Pythagoras. We're going to be playing more often with acceleration in x, acceleration in y. Okay? So if you remember very well from your physics 1, when you're doing the kinematic, we were given 4 formulas. And those 4 formulas that are easy to use. They are really easy to use, but now because we're in the in 2D, now we're gonna have them in x and as well in y. What are the 4 formula? We have the velocity final, it's gonna be the initial plus the acceleration times time. And then you have as well our displacement, the distance is gonna be 1/2 velocity initial plus the velocity final time. And then you have as well for the displacement again is going to be the velocity initial times time plus 1/2 acceleration squared. Okay, and then you have as well the v, which is going to be given by the velocity final squared initial squared plus 2 the acceleration of x. These are the 4 formula from your physics 2 in 1 dimension. Okay, but now we're going to play them in 2Ds. Remember, we're going to have an x and a y. So we're going to have in x, as you can see, we have an x here, x, 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 acceleration in x, 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 x. This is when they give us a ball, you kick it in the speed, so you're going to have this velocity in x and as well in y. Okay, so this is x, but we can apply again the same formula, we just changed now in y. Can you see? So those are the small changes that will happen into your calculation, and it's really simple. So now we have a y acceleration in y, and as well here is going to be what? Y. There you have what? Y acceleration in y-axis, and then you have your y acceleration in your y-axis. So you can see it's just a matter of an application of formula, because if you understand, if you have this formula, you can solve any type of problem. So we're going to try to look at them on how to use this formula more efficiently, but we're going to talk about it in the coming part. Okay, so these are the formula. They are given for x and as well for y-axis, because we are in the 2D. You can see we are in the 2D, 2 dimension. One vector and this vector give us a 2D. Okay, but remember, then again, we used to calculate our angle of this. We can calculate it for the final velocity. It's going to be tan. Okay, remember, we are the velocity in what? In y over the velocity in x. The same. Okay, so we're going to be applying as well this formula. Okay, so this is the part that we have to understand about the equation of our 2D dimension. Okay, and the last part that we're going to discuss is the projectile motion. What is it about? What is it about? Then we're going to explain it nicely so that you understand what you do when we start problem solving. Okay, projectile object is when you take an object, you throw it. For instance, let's say you have a plane. Okay, you have a plane that is flying. Okay, and then you throw something from this plane. So there is a projectile motion. You throw this object. Okay, but remember, this plane has a specific velocity that is flying with. Can you see? But you throw something from the air. The plane is still flying, but you drop something from the plane. What will happen here? Okay? So now remember, here we have our grounds where the body needs to flow. Okay? And then we have a specific height from where this plane drop that package. Okay? So you have your I, or we can consider it to be a Y. Okay, because we are in the y-axis. And then from the initial to where this bomb is going to fall, here we have our x. Okay, so this is going to be from where we start dropping this package until where it's going to fail. Let's say for instance it's fell there. So now you have a specific distance at which this object is going to fall down. Okay? But remember, this object is going to go in this direction like this. Can you see? Okay? So therefore you are dealing now with two velocity. We are dealing with the velocity, the speed in x, and as well the speed in y. Can you see that? Okay? So we are dealing with a speed, okay, in y, and as well the speed in x. We are in the 2D. Can you see? Because this is going in this direction. We are in the 2D. Okay? We are in the 2D. Okay? But what will be the speed in y? Because remember, from our Newton rule, if you drop something, what will be the acceleration? What will be the speed? What will be the acceleration in this body? The acceleration in this body in y, the acceleration that is going to drop this body down, the acceleration in y, okay, it's going to be, how much is going to be? 9.8 milliseconds squared. But remember, it's a negative. We're going to give it a negative y because it's going down. Okay? If it's going up, it's positive. When it's going down, it's always negative minus, because the acceleration here is going to be equal to the gravity acceleration, which is 9.8. But it's going to be negative because why? We are dropping an object. Okay? But in x, what is the acceleration? But because remember, the speed at which we drop it is going to be the same. It's going to be constant. And we know when the speed is constant, the acceleration is going to be what? Constant. The acceleration is constant. And when the acceleration is constant, what happens? The acceleration is equal to 0. Can you see that? So when they drop an object, the acceleration in y is equal to the gravity, but we give it a negative y because we are dropping it down. Okay? But the acceleration in x, it's constant. Why? Because our velocity in x will remain constant from the initial, which means the x, the final is going to be equal to the initial, because when you drop it, there is no any speed, there is no any acceleration in x. The acceleration is only applying in y. Okay? And automatically our acceleration will be constant, therefore it's going to be equal to 0. But in y, we're going to have an acceleration which is equal to the gravity acceleration, which is equal to 9.8. But we put in a negative because it's going down. Can you see that? So that's basically the most important part that we have to keep in mind when it comes to projectile. But again, we're still gonna use the equation for the kinematic in 2 dimensions in order to solve this kind of problem. Okay? Because we're still in y and x. So when we start with problem solving, you're gonna understand it more better. Okay? But remember also, we're gonna have a time, the initial time, okay, at which it was dropped, and the final time. Okay? So the final time, more often it's called to be the projectile, the projectile time. Okay? The projectile time, which means at the final time here, as you can see, our y is equal to 0. Okay? So when in the problem, it states, what is it? When in the problem it states that we have to calculate the projective time. The projective time. It means the final time. This is a note that you need to keep in mind. So if they ask you to calculate the projective time, they are basically asking you to calculate the final time at which, when you drop that specific package until it reaches down, what will be the final time. And then at the final time, your y is always going to be equal to 0, because there is no any I anymore. It's down. Y is equal to 0. Okay? So remember, I given a question of y. Y is equal to v initial t plus 1 to a y t. Can you see that? So when we are given a projectile time, we say that a projectile time y is equal to 0. Okay? What is equal to the acceleration? Acceleration is equal to the gravitational acceleration, which is equal to 9.8 milliseconds squared. But remember, we give it a negative y because it's dropping. So when it states in the problem that you calculate the projectile time, your y must be always equal to 0, because at the final time when it reaches the ground, the I is equal to 0. So this is really an important part that you should keep in mind, because if you don't get this one, you're gonna get some of the problem wrong. Okay, so in the next video I'll start to solve some question which I'm gonna pick, and then some other question we have solved them already under memo, which you can consult on our website.